Hello everybody and welcome back to this week's new reading vlog. I'm refilming this because I accidentally deleted this intro as well as a couple other clips for other vlogs that I've been doing, and because I've been working on other vlogs, I have been all over the place. I apologize. I had like my screen recording and my reactions to what this vlog is titled, reading my highest and lowest rated books on my physical TBR. So I do have the screen recording still that I can like show, but at the moment that wouldn't be really like fun or interesting for me to fake my reactions. Originally I was going to just read one of the highest and one of the lowest book, read two books, but it felt too short of a vlog, so I decided to read two of the lowest and two of the highest. For the lowest rated books, I chose The Fiction Writer by Gillian Cantor, as well as Jeanette McCurdy's Half His Age. I did have a few library books on my shelf because I had so many that I needed to get through, and the other lowest one that I could have read, The 10-Year Affair, I'm saving for a different reading vlog. And for the highest books, I read a memoir, the BTS memoir, which I remember buying at Target, and it just has taken me so long to read it, but I thought it was kind of the perfect time in reading it because of their comeback for Arirang. The other one that I read was a Book of the Month add-on that I had chose, a very chunky one, The Heart's Invisible Furies by John Boyne. It is a literary book. I've been a little bit afraid of it because of how long it was, but those are the four books that I've decided to read for this video. Please bear with me. You're gonna see me back in my pajamas as I'm editing, trying to figure out what clips I need to film. If you're new here, hi, my name is Noah. I'm a bookish and lifestyle blogger born and raised and still based in New York City. I promise I'm not usually this much of a mess, but if you're enjoying, I hope you keep watching and you subscribe at the end if you so please. Sorry if the dryer is a little bit loud, but I did start in on The Fiction Writer last night actually with an audiobook. So now I'm over 100 pages. This book isn't too long actually. We are following Olivia Fitzgerald. She was an up-and-coming author, is kind of like down on her luck with writer's block. Her agent brings her an opportunity to ghostwrite and it would be a huge deal, lots of money. And so she goes to Malibu to meet a reclusive mega billionaire, Ash. He wants her to write the story on his late grandmother's surprising connection to Daphne du Maurier, who is the author of Rebecca. I have not read this book. He believes that Daphne du Maurier stole his grandmother's manuscript. So Olivia is digging into his family history and is finding out that things really might not be as he believes it to be. Like I said, I'm over 100 pages now. Olivia, I don't really know. She definitely has a connection to the book Rebecca. She wrote her own retelling of it, which is how Ash claims to have found out about her. She feels that Ash is not being very forthcoming with the information that he's telling her and is purposely like delaying things because things need to be transcribed from French, and she's getting to tour like some of the property where she lived, and like the family history stuff is not quite adding up. Olivia like also has her own things going on. She is going through a breakup. She has like her best friend living out in California that she's kind of like slowly reaching out to. She hasn't really talked to him a lot, so I don't know how much of like this she can relate to him or at all because she signed an NDA. I'm not really sure how I feel about this. There are like a lot of questions unanswered, but I just don't know how interesting this could be if it's going to keep talking about like the manuscript because I have not read the book. There definitely is like an intriguing, like there definitely is some sort of mystery going on. Wow, this is really smooth. I'm 40% of the way through this audiobook and I thought I would pause before I listen more because I want to do some junk journaling. Now Ash has convinced Olivia to stay in Malibu for a little bit longer in his own home instead of going back because there's so much more that he wants to be able to tell her. He still hasn't gotten the translated transcript yet, yada yada yada. It's just all kind of suspicious. Like the people in his life, the people that he employs that are like meant to be taking care of Olivia there are kind of sus, and I would definitely feel incredibly guarded. Something happens where she just like knocked out, she feels drugged, but she's just like brushing it off as slow because why would anybody have that intention towards her? So it's a little bit creepy. Ash is weird, but I don't really know if I care a lot about Olivia and like what she's doing there. I completed The Fiction Writer some time ago now and I gave it 2 stars. I just found it to be just really boring. I did not care about this so-called mystery at all. I think had I not got it on audio, I maybe would not have finished it. Still grateful that Aardvark sent me this book. It wasn't for me. I didn't really care about it. Maybe it's because it's gothic that it just felt really low stakes and I was just not intrigued. It wasn't too much of a mystery for me. I'm working on a book of the month catch-up vlog, so I decided to leave the 10-year affair for that one and instead read Half His Age by Jeanette McCurdy because it's due at the library quite soon actually. I'm honestly surprised that the ratings for this are so low, especially since everyone like really enjoyed her writing for her memoir at least. But I feel like because this was so highly anticipated, maybe it just fell flat for a lot of people. This is about Waldo. She's horny, blunt, naive, wise, impulsive, lonely, angry, forceful, hurting, perceptive, endlessly wanting. And the thing she wants most of all, Mr. Corgi, her creative writing teacher with the wife and the kid and the mortgage and the bills, with the dead dreams and the atrophied looks and the growing paunch. I'm a little bit nervous how this could go because this feels like really icky already from the beginning. I started Half His Age yesterday and this book is so easy to read. Now the premise of this is really icky because our main character Waldo is 17 years old and she has a huge crush on her creative writing teacher, Mr. Corgi. It's not spelled like the dog Corgi, so Coda thinks it should be pronounced a different way. But like he's like not like the traditionally handsome guy. He's like a dad. He has the dad bod. I might be making up the fact that he's balding, but that's how I see him in my head. And he wears this like purple cardigan when he's feeling really confident in the day, and that gives me the ick. It's not healthy obviously, and when she makes a move on him he is like, oh no, this is so inappropriate, I have a wife, this is all my fault for like inviting you out. But then he like leans into it when she comes onto him a little bit more physically, and it's so uncomfortable that they're keeping up the sexual relation. Now I understand that she's 17 and different states have different ages of consent, but he's still in a much higher position of power than her. Not only is he 20 years older, but he's also her teacher and she is in high school. Like he will get fired for this, and it's like really icky reading this. But the chapters are so short, which is why it's so easy to fly through this. But Waldo is just like a pretty messed up individual, which makes it worse that you can tell that her teacher is taking advantage of her. Her home situation is not very good. Her mother is a single mother, not president. Waldo calls themselves white trash, and she is like constantly with a new man and completely neglecting her daughter. Her father is not present in her life at all. Knowing what Jeanette McCurdy went through as a kid kind of makes this ickier. It's really readable, and I feel like it's doing its job in making me feel really uncomfortable. The only annoying thing is that the writing style, the way that maybe Waldo talks, it's on purpose because she's like a high schooler, but it's so many lists, and sometimes they're like alliteration lists. It's just comma. It would be really amazing if I finished this book today, since I read already 50% of this yesterday. What the fuck was this ending? I took a couple days to sit on this because I wasn't quite sure what to rate it, because the ending made me really mad. It didn't feel like Waldo like learned any lesson or like really grew from this. There wasn't much character development at all. I'm settling on 3.5 stars. I believe that the writing was very easy to read. Like I said, I blew through the 50% of this. I just found her to be so frustrating and chaotic, but then again, she is a 17-year-old teenager, so bored out of her mind in Anchorage, clearly like overly sexual, and there's fault on both sides. I don't think it's fully on her, nor is it fully on her teacher. And I just thought it was weird that she never called him by his first name. She would call him Corgi or even Mr. Corgi, which kind of just instilled the power imbalance in the relationship. Once she graduated, there's like the sense of urgency and the secrecy and the sexiness of the relationship is no longer there, and she gets really bored with it, which is really telling of how like teenagers can be, but or just how like I guess the human mind can be. Not that it was still any less gross when she's graduated. I don't think any lesson learned. Like mother, like daughter, they're both such losers. I am on my second day of reading BTS Beyond the Story. I actually kind of debated whether or not I wanted to include it in this video because I realized that with it being a nonfiction, I'm not going to actually rate it. So it might feel like a waste, but it does feel kind of fitting to be reading this now, especially with their comeback and getting to see more of their history in depth. I am like obviously telling Coda all of this stuff because he likes BTS too, and he has been following them since debut, or at like at least what, pre-debut. It's cool seeing all of this history, and they include QR codes with videos that they're referencing, which I think is interesting. It is a translated work, so I think that it's a little bit clunky, and maybe it sounds great in Korean, which I'm sure it does, but the non-interview portions are a little weird. Overall, still very cool, and you really get to see the struggle of what it is like to be an idol, at least for them. I look a little cray-cray. I just woke up a little bit ago. But I did finish Beyond the Story. This is really just such an insightful story. I'm not gonna rate this because it is nonfiction. My lips are so dry. It's a different perspective into their life that I've never gotten to see before. Yes, they post a lot of content and I watch all of those. I watch their vlogs, I watch their shows, their interviews, but I think it's something so different about going through the history of what they have gone through and all of the hardships and the anxiety they experienced, was just seeing them in a new light and made me appreciate them more as idols because of how hard they work. Not that everyone doesn't, but I never have gotten a look into what it's like to be an idol at all, especially as a group that came out in a company that was so small. They were essentially a nobody company, a nobody group that just debuted, working really, really hard after EXO was really dominating the charts. And look how far they've come now. And I have like a newfound like different type of like appreciation for them. It was really, really cool getting to read this. Finally, I'm really behind. I last night looked through all the photos in this with Coda and talking about like the different eras that they've been through and who looks the best, and wow, I really enjoyed it. I mean, getting to tell Coda about like all these things that I was learning about them was also so fun, and I think is definitely a sign that I really enjoyed this read. I get all the army rating this really high, and I will start in on my next book, the last book, over the weekend because I have a library book that's due soon and I need to read. Always is the case with me. I've actually been reading The Heart's Invisible Furies for a couple days now, and I have not updated at all because I'm not really sure what to think, and also because this book is taking me a really long time to read, and I'm worried that I'm not going to be able to finish in time for this vlog to upload this week because I've been reading for like 5 days now and I still have like 100+ pages to read. 160 pages to read. I don't really know what to make of this book. It's very, very literary, and we're following Cyril Avery over the course of his life. The opening chapter starts out with his mother and how she came to Dublin, and as a baby, I think like 8 days old or something, he was immediately adopted, and his adoptive parents make it very, very clear to Cyril that they do not see him as one of their own. It's kind of unclear like why they wanted him, because to Cyril, it seems like he was kind of like a Persian rug that they always wanted, or a Tiffany lamp, and he's kind of just this decorative figure. Even though they say that they always wanted a child, it's kind of a reflex for him to say my adoptive mother as soon as someone says otherwise. We're following him over the course of his life. He's such a strange child. Maybe it's because his adoptive parents always spoke to him as if he was an adult or their peer. They don't really say they love him or care for him. He's more of like an acquaintance to them. He kind of is like how Sheldon Cooper is in Big Bang Theory. He just takes things very matter of fact and won't really joke around necessarily. It's very clear to him from a young age that he is not normal in this day and age, at least, and he is gay. Now, he is born and raised in Ireland, where it is very much illegal and Catholic, and he really just has to keep himself hidden, and it's just his life knowing that he's in love with his best friend and can't say anything, and is trying really hard to be this normal person and marry someone that he does not love. Right now, I'm finally in the 80s during the AIDS epidemic. He does leave Dublin. I'm not really sure if that's a spoiler, but I don't really know where this book is going to end. It is a really sad part where I'm currently at. He is meeting someone from his past. This book is rated quite high. From what I remember, it's like 4.17, and I don't really know what to think of it. Like, I did consider DNFing it, but it's literary, and I don't like love Cyril, or I'm not like super connected to any of the characters, but I'm just now too far in. If I like anyone, I think it's Bastien, his boyfriend, but we only just met. I finished The Heart's Invisible Furies, and I'm giving it 4.25 stars. I saw that a lot of my Goodreads friends gave it like 5 stars. I just didn't really get that feeling because for a lot of the book I kind of was like, where is this going? Which is a really bad question to be asking in a literary book when it is solely character based, and you really have to connect with the character in order to make it through because there's essentially no plot. We're really just being taken on through this journey of Cyril's life. It was so interesting seeing how people in his mother's life would pop up in his own unknowingly, and it's really hard living as as a gay man in an incredibly Catholic country where being gay was really illegal for a lot of his life, and I'm glad that he was able to make it out of there and find happiness where he could. I don't want to say too much just because it's so long, there's so much that I could give away, but the last line really killed me. I think this is one that I would keep on my shelf, and I've never read really anything like this in terms of the writing style. It's so like straightforward, and I don't know if that's like an English-Irish thing or Cyril and how he was raised. I also thought it was funny, I realized that I had kept this by my window for a long time, top side up, so look how she got sunburnt. I don't know if you can tell, but the top of this makes this book look a lot more aged than what she is. That concludes the vlog portion. I feel like overall I am with the consensus because the books that I didn't enjoy were the lowest rated books on my TBR, and the books that were the highest rated average rating I rated relatively well, except for one not rated, but I really did enjoy the BTS memoir a lot, so I think this would be a fun experiment. It also helps in reading down my physical TBR, which is one of my reading goals for the year. I've been saying a lot, so I may do this again, even though the books that were the top rated on my TBR were books in series, so I had to exclude those, but this has been fun. Hopefully if I do it next time, I will actually get it done in a more cohesive amount of time, and it won't be so much of a mess. But I hope you enjoyed. Let me know if you've read any of these books and your thoughts, especially with Half His Age, and I will see you all in my next video. Thank you so much for watching. Bye!